There's going to be water roadways all the way up towards San Antonio and Corpus, and all the way over to Houston.
And the winds on the ground are just absolutely insane. Oh my God! Look out!
Harvey is a strong Category 2 hurricane with sustained winds of 110 miles per hour. Harvey is expected to reach Category 3 status prior to landfall. Heavy rainfall is expected through much of the area, with rainfall totals of 20 to 30 inches near, north and east of the line from Airport.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, good morning. So let's get another update of what's going on. And even though the outer bands are approaching Corpus and east of the Corpus, we've got to look back to the southeast. Tropical storm force winds are approaching the coast, and we've had some bands that are reaching the coast now. And here's just kind of a real quick radar update. So, you know what we're going to focus on this morning is obviously we got a very dangerous hurricane, Category 2 going to intensify to Category 3. And one of the things I've been watching overnight and early this morning is the eye wall and also the the velocity data. And what we're seeing here is that the area, the velocity, kind of the eye of the hurricane, continues to shrink. It's getting smaller. The eye's getting smaller, and that tells me that there's a couple things going on here. We've got a more likely Category 3 hurricane now, and the eye continues to strengthen. The winds continue to strengthen, and obviously from the Corpus radar here, we're out, that's, the eye, it's just the ballpark here, about 120 miles roughly, kind of like southeast of Corpus. But one of the things we watch, and this is not the surface, this is up a little bit, but gives you an idea. We've got winds, 100, 115, 120, probably about 7,000 feet here. But my point is that if you watch this, these winds, are pretty high on this front side. And what's going to happen is this, as this eye, I'm going to draw on the map here, as this eye kind of, we'll see, where it goes on this isodope line here. If it tracks to the northeast, we'll see as it tracks to the northeast, is it going to go, right toward Corpus? Is it going to go, like right here? Or is it going to track up this way? Too soon to tell yet, but what's going to happen is this eye starts approaching this afternoon. We've obviously got tropical storm force winds right now basically getting ready to come on shore. Tropical storm force winds, things are going to rapidly deteriorate now. We're almost getting to the point of no return now as far as escaping out of here. So as the tropical storm force winds come in and these bands come rocketing in, tornado threat's going to increase. We'll probably have a tornado watch out a little bit later. As these bands come in, there'll be some friction along the coastline here, and you'll get some spin ups. The biggest thing is going to be storm surge, especially in this northeast quadrant here. From the eye, this northeast quadrant here, the water is getting pushed like this, and it's surging to the northeast of the eye. And as this eye tracks up toward the coast, this area approximately from Corpus over here to let's call it Rockport and this general area, this area is going to have a significant storm surge. They're calling 6 to 12. I think it's going to potentially, if we get into a higher Cat 3 before landfall, I think we could top 15. 15 was my number. I said I'm sticking with it. I think 12 to 15 is not out of the question. Storm surge, not that far inland, but the barrier islands and the low-lying areas, I think there's going to be some isolated 15. 12 is definitely doable on the storm surge based on the data I'm seeing this morning from buoys as well as other data. Biggest concern is right now, if we watch the eye, as the eye continues to shrink, means it's intensifying. It's getting very, very small now. And if we look at the eye diameter, it's getting down pretty small now. I mean, it's we might be down to 10 miles, but this on satellite, it looks like it's continuing to intensify. The satellite goes R16, rapid scan. It's just absolutely an amazing sight this morning on the satellite. The eye is starting to, you can see the eye now on the satellite as well. So this thing continues to intensify. This is going to be a major hurricane approaching the coast. We're going to have torrential rain, obviously catastrophic rains as the thing slows and stalls nearby. and some of the computer models basically is it kind of, you know, and this is a ballpark, this is not exact, but it's close. As this thing comes up, and let's just say it's in this general area, you know, it's in this, it comes in real slow as it comes in here to the northwest and northeast of Corpus and then Rockport area, and it comes in, and as it takes, you know, till tomorrow evening, it's kind of up in this area, you know, spinning away. And so this whole area here is going to experience, you know, winds of, you know, 80 to gust to 125 over here, Portland, Rockport, for well over 12 hours. It could go as far as 24 hours of hurricane force winds. But I think this whole area here is going to have hurricane force winds for, you know, a long time, well over 12 hours, and a lot of, in this area, up in this area, it's going to have hurricane force winds over 24 hours. So even if the winds are 100, 120 gust, you take winds, you know, that long of a period, you're going to have a lot of damage. I can tell you this morning, I have drove over, and let's go to a different map now. Let's go to my the standard map here, and let's look at this area back south here. As I came across the bridge this morning over here, 181, got over to Portland, and down in this area and looking at things, I can tell you Gregory, Portland, all this area along the coastline, obviously Port Angeles, all this area has been closed. The outer barrier reef here is all closed. It's this area, Mustang Island, this all area is going to have potentially catastrophic damage. It's the way it looks right now. From this area up north, all this area in here is going to be really bad. Rockport, one of the things, I made a stop here back southwest of Rockport at a local station, gas station, talked to the owners, talked to them. The fire department tells me that in history that water's never crossed Highway 35 here in history. But this is like no other hurricane before either. So we'll see how deep the water gets inland here. If it gets across 35, it's definitely going to cross, you know, as you get 70 and right along the coastline here, this is all going to go underwater. I don't think there's a question about that. But the other thing that's a big concern here is that that I've noticed, and this is in several areas of this whole area of Corpus, especially get over Portland, there's some mobile home, there's trailer parks, there's fifth wheel parks, all along this road here. There's fifth wheel parks and mobiles all in this general area. A lot of those mobile homes and trailer parks are unsecured, no tie downs. People are in them. This is going to be a really bad disaster. I can just tell you right now that unless those people leave that's in those mobile homes and fifth wheel trailer parks, I expect a lot of people are going to be trapped as we get overnight. I'm just telling you, this is a very, very dangerous situation I'm seeing here. When I talked to the locals at a gas station back here, they told me, well, you know, they're comparing it to other hurricanes. Well, we didn't have damage back in 70. It wasn't that bad. And that's because the hurricane was over closer to Corpus. But if this thing does make it kind of in the east of Corpus here and go in this general direction of Portland, Rockport, Fulton, and this general area where it makes landfall, just to the right of that, there's going to be a swath of really bad stuff, storm surge as far as extreme wind damage as well. So that's kind of my thoughts early this morning. This is going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. Not only do we going to have the bad, you've got all the other things that are going to happen as well from the Hurricane Center. I'm watching just lots of different things here, tropical updates from the Corpus Christi weather service here. Obviously, there's a storm surge warning. They're saying 6 to 12 feet above ground level. So this is very concerning for the whole area. So that's kind of a, you know, it's kind of a short update of what's going on here. Things are going to get really bad here by sundown. I do expect hurricane force winds to start approaching the coast very close to sundown, maybe as early as 5 or 6 o'clock. But that's kind of what we're seeing right now. And but this thing's going to produce record amount of rainfall, a lot of flash flooding. We'll tell you that a pressure's falling here. I've got a little windometer deal, catch a little product here, and I'm monitoring the pressure and the humidity and all that kind of stuff. And pressure keeps falling, and the winds are picking up. The winds weren't too high a while ago. When last time I checked, you see what winds are now, and it looks like it's let me get back to wind speeds, but they're about 15 to 20, not too bad. I'm kind of in a little bit sheltered area right now, so they're not too bad right where I'm at. But that's kind of the small update. Again, if you're in this area, this is This is not a quick hit, you know, in and out like a lot of hurricanes. This is going to be a very prolonged event, you know, multi-day event. So anyway, it's going to be an interesting storm to chase. And I'm talked to the local fire department. I've got a couple of shelters I can take rescue in some fire stations. I've talked to a couple different fire departments here this morning, and they've invited me to come to their facilities if need be. And I probably will do that at some point this afternoon or this evening as things really start deteriorating rapidly. And I'm going to get to high ground, very high ground. I'm going to try to be closer to 20 feet above sea level versus right now I'm probably at about 9 feet, 8 feet where I'm at located right now. So anyway, you know, I think, you know, Cat 3, maybe Cat 4. Let's hope and pray that nobody dies in this and drowns. Remember, most of this are after the hurricane. It is people driving into storm surge water, deep water, turn around, don't drown. There's going to be water over roadways all the way up towards San Antonio, all the way west, probably 75 miles from Corpus, all the way over to Houston as we get into Sunday and Monday, because this is a real wide rain event. And so the flooding alone, just forget the hurricane, forget the damage to the hurricane, just the flood aspects of this storm alone is going to probably break all Texas records as far as, it could be as bad as Allison. It's going to break records. I mean, this is going to be a record-breaking event from just strictly a rain event. It's going to be catastrophic. Then you throw in the hurricane over a hurricane and tropical storm force winds over a large area. That just compounds the situation. So this is going to be a really bad event. You know, and tell you, in the coming days, good morning, New Zealand, or good afternoon over there, New Zealand. In the coming days, this whole area is going to need help. It's going to need a lot of help. I know I talked to some emergency managers and some government officials in the private sector. They're staging. They're already bringing generators in. I know the National Guard's being called up. There's everybody's on standby. People, you know, forces are moving in. People are staging outside of the direct hit area so they can bring in water and stuff. I'm sure the airports are going to end up becoming very similar to Katrina. The airport locations and the higher grounds are going to become airlift operations for bringing emergency supplies in, as well as evacuating people out. I fully expect that's what's going to happen, both in Corpus and east over here. So I'm actually near an airport right now, and this will probably be one of the rescue areas. So anyway, that's kind of my thoughts, guys. It's going to be really bad. We'll see what happens with the new data this morning. If the hurricane, a couple of models slowly weaken the hurricane Saturday and Sunday to the northeast and north of Corpus, it slowly tries to spin down. Some of the models, GFS, the European model, kind of takes it back closer to the coast. The European actually takes it back in the Gulf of Mexico, re-intensifies it to potentially a major hurricane, and then tracks over toward Galveston and Houston as we get into Sunday and Monday. We'll see if that all plays out. There's no way to tell right now if that's going to happen. So we're just gonna have to wait and see how this thing unfolds over the next 48, 72 hours, and then we can kind of start looking and see if this thing's gonna spin out over South Texas here and not go back in the Gulf and then head over east and do more damage. But anyway, prepare for a long duration event. Prepare for utilities to be out for weeks, possibly as long as months, in the most hardest hit areas, which is pretty standard after a major hurricane. And everybody hunker down and be safe. That's kind of, yeah. I'll try to answer a couple questions. There's just so much stuff going on right now. It's hard to answer everybody's questions, but I think everybody pretty much knows the drill, what's going to happen and what we expect. And I think that's the kind of a cap right now. I'm going to continue to scout out areas and look where to take shelter and look at places to film, and also high ground. That's going to be a big deal. Yeah, Louisiana declared a state of emergency. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. We appreciate you guys, and we'll update you a little bit later. I'm going to keep Periscope to a minimum day until things start getting really, things closer to 5, 6, 7 o'clock will ramp up rapidly. And I do expect hurricane force winds probably before it gets dark. You know, 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock hour, I think winds are going to, hurricane force winds will come to shore, and things will get go downhill rapidly after that. Thank you guys very much, and we appreciate every one of you. Thank you.